Erdogan's son-in-law gets his share of mafia boss scandals. He profits from terrorist groups. The leader of the Turkish mafia, Sedat Bakır, revealed more scandals involving the government of Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan, including arming the terrorist al-Nusra Front, trading in the Palestinian cause and relations with Israel. In the 8th video, which he posted on his YouTube channel, Sedat singled out the team of the former Turkish finance minister, Berat Albayrak, the son-in-law of President Erdogan, among them, Metin Karat, head of administrative affairs of the Turkish presidency, and said that they cooperate with terrorist groups in the country, Syria, and they earn billions of dollars through the trade in weapons, crude oil, copper and tea. And at the beginning of 2014, trucks that were said to belong to the Turkish intelligence service, loaded with weapons and military equipment, were seized before crossing from Turkey to Syrian territory for armed groups there. Erdogan was the prime minister at the time, and he expressed his anger at what was done by the famous journalist, Can Dündar, after he published a video clip of the movement of trucks loaded with weapons. Broken economy or family feud? Why has Erdogan's son-in-law quit govt? Albayrak announced his decision on Instagram on November 8, saying he was resigning for health reasons. The resignation went largely unreported by the mainstream Turkish media, apparently for fear of a backlash from Erdogan. Earlier this month, Turkey President Recep Tayyip Erdogan's son-in-law, Berat Albayrak, announced his resignation as the country's treasury and finance minister. The question commentators are asking is whether the move is related to the worsening Turkish economy, or whether it concerns the power equations within the family. What has happened with the president and his son-in-law? Albayrak announced his decision on Instagram on November 8, saying he was resigning for health reasons. The resignation went largely unreported by the mainstream Turkish media, apparently for fear of a backlash from Erdogan. It took the president's office over 24 hours to acknowledge and accept the resignation. On November 11, Erdogan appointed former Deputy Prime Minister Lutfi Elvan as Albayrak's successor. Albayrak's announcement came a day after Erdogan had fired the governor of Turkey's central bank, Murat Özil, 16 months after he had taken office. Some believe this is the reason Albayrak resigned. Erdogan replaced Özil with former finance minister Nasi Agbal, who has been critical of Albayrak's economic policies over the last 2 years. According to some media reports, Albayrak was not briefed about Özil's sacking. Why is the resignation significant? Media reports have noted that Albayrak was viewed as Erdogan's heir apparent, and that he was being groomed for the role. On his blog, the Turkish economist Uygur Gürses has called Albayrak's resignation a privilege of his own, since there is no example in the 17-year Erdogan administration of someone who resigned with personal preference. He noted that Albayrak's resignation is an anomaly, considering all ministers have so far been dismissed or relocated at Erdogan's will. That makes the resignation especially surprising, given that Albayrak is thought to be the country's second most powerful. How bad is Turkey's economy? Erdogan has been in power since 2003, first as prime minister, and then as president since 2014. In these years, Turkey's economy nearly doubled in size at an annual rate of about 5.6%, according to a BBC report, but then it shrank in the third and fourth quarters of 2018. That was the year when Albayrak took over as finance minister. Since then, the economy has been marked by slowdowns and the weakening of the Turkish lira, both of which have been exacerbated by the pandemic. And 2018 was also the year when the parliamentary government system was replaced with a presidential system, concentrating power in the president, and giving Erdogan greater powers to influence institutions such as the country's central bank. When Albayrak took over as finance minister, his early initiatives were aimed at keeping interest rates low and inflation in check. This unorthodox approach is something Erdogan is known to favor. In fact, one of the reasons that the lira has been hitting record lows against the dollar is because of pressure from Erdogan on the central bank not to raise interest rates. In September this year, however, the central bank raised its benchmark interest rate by 2 percentage points in the hope that this will bring down inflation and attract investors to buy the lira. How is Al-Bayrak's tenure as finance minister perceived? Due to high rates of unemployment, double-digit inflation and the declining value of the lira, it has lost more than 25% of its value since the beginning of this year and is one of the worst-performing currencies of the year. Al-Bayrak was considered an unpopular finance minister of what was once seen as one of the fastest-growing global markets. However, as Gorsuch notes on his blog, being the president's son-in-law gave him very solid political support and strength, because of which he was able to sign wrong decisions in a blindfold. Some of these decisions include imposing interest restrictions on bank deposits and loans, restrictions on foreign exchange transactions, and pressure in companies to lower prices following the currency shock in August 2018. In contrast, new central bank governor Akbil and finance minister Elvin, in comments they made last week, have promised to improve the quality of public finance by maintaining fiscal discipline.